So today we went to Leeds Castle, which for some reason is in Maidstone. I don't know why it's called Leeds, because Leeds is closer to Middlesbrough than it is to Kent. Leeds is probably about just shy of 300 miles from Maidstone in Kent, so I don't know why it's called Leeds Castle, but it is. Very odd. Mm, I'm a bit. I enjoyed it, but I think it was really, really expensive to get in. It was £25 per person. But the good thing was that we got a free carer's ticket because my nana is in a wheelchair, so my dad got in for free, and she got £3 knocked off her ticket. But for four of us all together, it still was about 70 odd quid to get in. I mean, there was plenty there. It wasn't just a castle. There was a load of grounds, and there was tons of birds, swans, black swans, geese, ducks, all that sort of thing, waterfowl. You could buy food to feed them. We didn't, but they were still bugging us for food. They just did not give a shit. We nearly ran some of them over with the wheelchair. My mum accidentally kicked one because it wouldn't move, and she didn't realise she was walking into a duck. The duck wasn't impressed. It's quite funny. But they come right up to you. And swans are massive. I didn't realise how big swans were. It's like when I first stood next to a seagull in Middlesbrough town centre, and I was like, bloody hell, you're huge. So yeah, swans are massive, I've learnt that. So there was the castle itself, and most of it was roped off, obviously. But it wasn't like castle ruins like most of them are. It was an actual castle that is lived in. People live in it now. And it had a lot of there were some bits that were like more like a museum with things in glass cases and all that sort of thing. Suits of armor, swords, trophies, gold things, lots of portraits, and apparently Henry VIII lived there. And Henry VIII is an absolute babe. He's like one of my favourite monarchs of history because, I don't know, I feel a kinship with him. He was fat as fuck and he didn't care. We actually went into there was a sign outside that said Henry VIII's banqueting hall, and I thought, oh, wicked, it's going to have a massive table in it, and it might have like fiberglass food on it, or like a big fake chicken or something. But it didn't. It was just a big empty room with a portrait and a fireplace in it, which is a little bit disappointing. There was a chapel. There was the Queen's bedroom, and it actually had the full four-poster bed and all that sort of thing. There was the Queen's bathroom, which, well, obviously they didn't have indoor plumbing, but it was like a wash tub basically, and all the things that she used for washing. But didn't kings and queens only have a bath like every couple of months? I don't know why you'd dedicate a whole room to it if you seldom did it. And what's cool about Leeds Castle, it's one of few castles that's, well, it's intact for a start, and it has a moat. So you have to go over a bridge to get to the actual castle bit, and you could look out all the windows and see water and tons of swans. So in addition to the castle part, there were a couple of gift shops and things, and coffee shops, restaurants, all that sort of thing. There was a falconry centre, like birds of prey. There was owls, eagle owls, falcons, that sort of thing. There was a tent set up with like, well, I'm tempted to say VR, but it wasn't quite VR. It was like a projection. There was a big pit, and you stood and you looked over the pit, and there was projection, sound, light, and all this, and it was about the Second World War, because Leeds Hospital was used as a... Leeds Hospital? I've just given it away. Leeds Castle was used as a hospital during the war for people who had been shot down from the RAF. And it basically was going on about how many Luftwaffe that the RAF managed to shoot down. Which is quite amusing actually, because hardly anybody there today was English. Everyone had some sort of European accent. There were so many French people, Spanish people, German people. There was even some Australians in the gift shop asking the lady if they could take something through customs. And the lady had to say, I'm afraid not, because there's meat in it and you will have to declare it and probably get it taken off you. So probably recommend you eat it before you go back to Australia. I also don't know what it was, but it had meat in it, so I'm going to assume it was some sort of, I don't know, preserved meat, who knows. It was very expensive, I'll say that much. I certainly didn't buy anything from that gift shop. Although I was quite tempted by a little plush. It was about this big of Henry VIII. It looked like a voodoo doll. It was like quite flat, but it was like 12 quid, and I was like, no, not for 12 quid. Maybe a fiver, but not 12 quid. And the Falconry Centre, they did like a display where the birds come up and fly, and they did one bird that was like a bird that didn't really fly. It like mooched around and foraged, so they made it run through tunnels and dig and try and find its food. And then they brought out this massive eagle owl, and they got it to fly right up close to us on a perch on the fence, and then it decided to piss down, and the owl didn't want to be in the rain. The owl got upset, and everyone watching got upset, and the handlers were like, we'll try again in 10 minutes, and everyone just sodded off basically. Which was quite disappointing because I was quite enjoying it. Props to Leeds Castle though, on their accessibility. There was an upstairs of the castle, but to get up there you had to go up a spiral staircase, and obviously they can't put in a lift in a grade listed building and all this sort of thing, so we couldn't go up there with Nana. So I stayed with Nana. Mum and Dad went up to see it in person. They took us off to a private roped off VIP area, put on a DVD, which was like a guided tour. Someone had gone around with a camera and explained everything, and I reckon we saw things a lot more detailed and up close than what Mum and Dad saw, because they said they couldn't even go in half the rooms because they were roped off. There was an area that did have a lift, so there was like a little area with about 5 steps. I don't know why they didn't just turn it into a ramp, but they were pretty good with that. And we had to go through a special entrance, so we got priority over that. And there was like an accessible minibus, so when it started pissing down, we were all like, sod it, we're going back on the minibus. And fair play to the guy, I don't really think he had to go out of his way to do this, but he actually drove us not only to the car park, but physically up to where we were parked. So he has sort of broken the stereotype that people from Kent are rude. Maybe it's just people from Whitstable that are rude. People from Maidstone are apparently alright. Well, he was anyway. All day I'd been coughing. I'm not doing it now, I'll tell you why in a moment. Partly because of this. Partly because of this, but also, I mean, I wasn't tired. I wasn't getting tired, I wasn't getting worn out, but there was a lot of walking around, and it was fairly windy and rainy and all this sort of thing, and my chest was just like, no, I can't handle this. So I had to stop and cough, and I was coughing up a lot of phlegm, and it was yellow, and occasionally it had blood in it, and my family got quite worried about this. So when we came back, we looked in the welcome pack, and it was like, if you need medical attention, phone this number. And it was a number of a local health centre. And my mum basically said, A, she is asthmatic, and B, she is coughing up blood and phlegm. And the woman said, right, you can come in. And we went there. About 5 minutes later, I had to fill out a temporary patient form, so for the next 15 days I'm actually registered as a patient in Kent. I got seen to by a nurse. She did the stethoscope and all this. Initially she just put the little clip on my finger, and she was like, your blood oxygen's 99%, and I thought, oh, for fuck's sake, she's gonna say there's nothing wrong with me. And I lifted my top up. She actually listened to my chest, and at the time I was wheezing quite bad. I was like, ugh! And she could hear that, and she was like, right. So she wrote me a prescription, and I got some steroids, and I got some antibiotics, and I'm gonna kick its ass, because now I am powered up with steroids. I should have gotten rid of this by the time I go home on Friday, and that will be lots of fun. We came back to the holiday park, we got changed, and we went to, well, it was still in Birchington, but it was on Birchington Seafront, and it was this really, really pretentious hipstery pub that mainly sold fish, mussels and seafood and things like that. And no, it was really, really pretentious, I swear to God. Half of the menu was vegetarian and vegan and all this, and I mean, fine, whatever. But it was really stupid, pretentious things like lentil burgers, all this sort of thing. And they only sold craft beers. And none of the chairs or tables matched. I swear to God, it was like they'd just gone round jumble sales and went, yeah, we'll have those, and those. And they couldn't try and make reasonable matches. Nothing matched. The table we were at, none of the chairs matched, so it was a bit strange. My mum said it was shabby chic, but I thought it was just shit. So I got pizza, and it said it was 14 inches, and I thought, there is no way I can eat 14 inches. I struggle to eat 10. And you can make as many jokes about that as you like. And it come. But thankfully, 2 inches of it was crust, so I just left that part. I did manage to eat about 12 inches of it. Problem was, this hipster place clearly has never heard of a pizza wheel or a knife. It was just one solid mass. There was no slices cut in it whatsoever. And so thus I was expected to eat a pizza with a knife and fork, and it's hard work. Have you ever tried to eat a pizza with a knife and fork? It's hard work. Especially when the doughs are really, really soft and really, really gummy, and you've got a proper hack through it. Not helped by the fact that on the plate that the pizza was served on was newspaper. Well, I say newspaper. It was actually photocopied excerpts from newspapers printed onto greaseproof paper. So I did actually end up eating a bit of it, and I thought, what is the point of this? Really, what is the point of this? It was a nice pizza. It was, instead of tomato, it had bolognese sauce on it, 2 types of cheese, rocket, pepperoni, ham, and chicken. I say ham, but it was more like they'd got like a joint of ham and cut off little cubes of it. It wasn't like that rubbish turkey ham that you get from all these halal takeaways. It was proper ham. So the pizza itself was nice, it was just hard work to eat it. Then we came back. The previous 2 nights, Dad and Nana have played bingo, but we were a bit too late to play bingo. They'd already sold all the books and things, so we went in the arcades again. And now we have a grand total of about 600 or 700 tickets. I've got more and more of them in the drawer. And you feed them into a machine, and it shreds them up, counts them out, shreds them up, and you can print out a receipt, and it's like, this receipt is worth 350 tickets or whatever. You keep them, and then you can swap them for prizes. And I think that's what we're going to do, either tomorrow afternoon or Friday morning. I think I have enough tickets for what I want, but if not, I can have another go at that water shooting zombie game, because today I actually managed to clear the first mission and I got an S rank, and the machine went mental and decided to give me about 70 tickets, and I reckon I could do that again if need be. I think I need about 700 tickets to get something. I've got my eye on something, but I'll let you know if I manage to get it or not.